Hello YouTube, how you all doing? Tammy as a yarn crafter here for a bunch of finished objects I've made this past week. Now I know if you'd watched my video on Wednesday for my whips, I only had one whip on the go, and that's because at the time I had made 6 projects I'd finished. Well, since my whip video, I've finished actually a 7th. They've all been pretty quick projects. And I got a lot here. This is the most I've ever had for finished objects in 1 week. To start off with, we're going to go over my 2 projects for over at Erin's over at Crafting Kitty Creator Spotlight. And hopefully I'll remember to share all the channels or groups down below. So for the Creator Spotlight, you guys saw my dishcloth I made last week for her Spotlight Creator Stitch. And it's also, I used it for Things We're Making Thursday washcloth for the month. And for another participant group, Judy's. Well, this week, the 2 items from Erin are just for Erin's. There's no double dipping or triple dipping. And I will warn you, the colors are very bright. I am going to put them on. I cannot normally wear these or ever wear these colors, so be prepared in advance because these colors do not look right on me at all. And the first thing I made, which was a half double crochet infinity scarf, as you can see, that end's complete. This end over here is complete. So it is one long tube. I think it was like 6 rows high, 7 rows high, and they're half double crochets worked in the back loop. And all you do for an infinity scarf is kind of overlap it, so you will get, a crisscross twist kind of thing on it. And I warn you guys now, I am so sorry, but like I said, I am going to put this on. And it's like super bulky, super warm. Like I said, I cannot wear this color, mind you. I like them tight around the neck so that when you get your coat up, underneath, it's like really warm. In my city, we are having a lot of little tent cities popping up. And I do know my husband had mentioned to me the one just down the road from us. There's an older couple living in one of the tents, or at least there was. I'm going to ask him to kind of keep an eye out and see if he spots them, because he said, I know the one day when he's seen them going in or out of their tent, she doesn't look like she's very warm in her coat. And unfortunately, I only own one winter coat. So I'm thinking of donating either this one to her or this other one I made also for Erin. Now, this one I don't think will be as warm, so I'm not sure I'm going to donate this one or not. And it's just a cowl. Now, in the tutorial I used, there's supposed to be 3 buttons that go up this side of the joint. I only did 2 because this other side, technically you're supposed to sew it shut, and I didn't want to. So there is 3 buttons on it. It's just they're not in the same spots as the way the designer did them. It is done in rows. It's almost like the vibe of a corner to corner stitch, but it's a 2-row repeat. And again, I apologize. Like I said, this color is not me, but I kind of like the way this one goes as well. And it's like nice and warm. So and like my husband said, her coat didn't look like it did up all the way. So this one I think would be a better one for that lady. And I also know a lot of people, including myself, our winter jackets are black. So this is a very bright, very bold color. Again, I cannot wear it. It does not suit me at all. The yarn actually that I used was the Burnett Value yarn that I purchased for my husband's hat that I made from my Head to Winter Knits hat or book. And then I used the yarn again in my son's hat that I made him for Christmas. And then I used this colored yarn again in the knitted ear warmer that I made that I'm going to give to my sister. So that's my entries for Erin's. Now, the next bunch, which is a pretty big bunch, is from a Facebook group. And if you give me a moment, I got to pull it back up because I can never remember the name of the actual group. It is Cal Central Crochet. They do a make along. They usually do only one at a time, and you can see each week, and it's a weekly pattern release. Well, that one is our Winter Wonderland crochet along. There's only one pattern so far out for it, and I haven't participated in that one yet, but they have two of them on the go at the same time, which is odd for them. And the other one they have, I'm just scrolling down through the page, I'm so sorry, is the Underground. It's like a mystery one, but we get like patterns almost every day. But I'm going to share the whole group itself down in the comment section, because like I said, there is two different make-alongs going on right now with it. So what have I done so far for the one make-along? Well, like I said, I've done a fair bit. The first one is a triple dipper, by the way. So it's for the Facebook group, the Cal Central Crochet. This will also be getting entered into the group for the Crochet Witch and Friends, and I will share her link down below as well if I remember. And this is also going to be an entry for Nan's Crochet Ideas. Now for the Crochet Witch and Friends, it's for the Great Cake Off. So each month you have a challenge and you got to make something with a cake of yarn of some kind. And then for Nan's Crochet Ideas, she switched it up this year, and what she's doing is each month they're competing two stitches together, like against each other. And actually, now that I think of it, there's two items that will be. Yeah, I'm only entering two for that one. So the two stitches for this month is a double crochet and a half double crochet. So this one's a triple dipper, but it is. I know there's no real right or wrong side to the pattern. Well, I'm going to pull my StreamYard back up, actually, now that I mentioned all the channels. So here it is. And again, yep, it's got yellow in it, so I can't wear it. And then the one side. And then the other on the other side. And it's just made with double crochets. And the yarn I used for this one was, is it still sitting here? No. I don't remember what yarn it was off the top of my head. It's put away already in a box. But it was one I got for Christmas. I know that much. So I did show it already, the yarn tease already. And it's pretty neat, light, airy. It was, I know, a three-way. I think it was, I want to say Roll With It, but I don't think that was the name of it. Bear with me for one moment here, people, and I will let you know exactly what the yarn was called. Oh, Sweet Roll DK by Premier. Never used this yarn before. It is a 3-weight yarn, I do believe. Yeah, it's a 3-weight, 100% acrylic yarn. There is 541 yards in the cake. It made a good size shawl. There was a tie-in, and I work most of my cakes, hanks, well, balls of yarn and stuff. If I can work it from the middle, I work my yarn from the middle always. And I wasn't very far in this yarn when I had a tie-on. And the tie-on, the colors from what I was using to what came next, totally, you could tell it was a tie-on. Like, there was no way of blending it. So I cut the tie-on out, and then I pulled the ball up, or the cake apart, so that the tie-on's up here, by the way, in this yellow, very early on, like it's up here in this dark yellow. So when I looked at it, I thought, okay, well, I can scrap that few rows I did, but I thought, no, that's a few rows less that I'm going to be able to do later, kind of thing. So I deconstructed the cake and pulled out half of what was left in the cake, and then started working from the outside in on the part I pulled out. And then I made it so that it ended down here in this dark gray section somewhere. And then for what I had left of the cake, which ended in the dark gray, I then did a second tie on down here in the dark gray somewhere to finish it, and then worked from the outside in again. I don't mind having to deal with tie-ons through part of a hank, yarn, or skein, a cake, whatever. But I'm sorry, if it's a striping yarn, I wish there was better quality control. Like if it's a speckled yarn or very heavily variegated yarn, not so much of a big deal. But if it's a striping yarn, especially with the stripes are significant amounts before it goes to a new color, they need better quality control. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. I felt that way early on this year when I used a skinny cake and had made a scarf with it and had the same issue. But other than that, beautiful yarn. I don't think it's got as many yardage as a skinny cake. You could easily make a summer top out of this yarn, even though it's acrylic, but it's very light, very drapey. I think I used the size 5 crochet millimeter hook. I think for everything here that's crocheted, like they were all done with the same hook. So there's that project. Then the next one I made, which was the same yarn. No, actually it's different than that yarn. This one is from Michael's. It's the Loops and Threads. Actually, give me a moment. I could probably tell you. It should be sitting. Yep, right here. There's one of the covers. I don't know. Oh, Soft Classic. Now, I know this yarn says it's a size 4 weight yarn. I find this yarn a little thicker and a little stiffer if you use a normal 5 weight hook for it. Now, I personally would probably, if I'm going to use this yarn again, go up to a size 6. But I'm glad I made this project here with a 5. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but it's all done in single crochets. But where you put your stitches in or how you wrap your yarn when you pull up your loops made for a very unique stitch. So this section down here at the bottom, and then this section right here, and hopefully you guys can see it. Yeah, right in here. You do one in the back loop, just a regular single crochet, and then your next one you put, like you got your bars or your post, but you go in the middle of the post. So it was kind of neat. And then this section here, and then this section here at the top, when you insert in normal through 2 loops, but when you wrap your yarn, instead of wrapping it over the hook, normally you wrap it the other way or something like that, which gave it kind of a neat texture. But it's a neat little bag. It's not very big. It'd be a perfect starter type bag to give a young child experience of like carrying a purse kind of thing. It is very thick, very dense. It's not lined. I would feel safe actually using it as a project bag. I would feel safe with my scissors in here, my knitting needles, or my crochet hook. And like I said, it's a very dense bag. Now, I don't like that the straps didn't really line up properly. I followed her count, but they're off-centered. But again, I don't think it's a big deal. It still works. Then the next project I made, like I said, there's a lot here, is a scarf, and it was done with a single crochet back post, I believe, and it calls for at the end of like the both sides to add fur, those fur pom-poms on it. Now the color I used was like a slate kind of denim bluish gray. Well, it's blue, but it's almost got a slate gray to it kind of feel. But it's a good size scarf. It's just fold it twice. So, and then the other side, and like I said, it's a good size. Here it is folded only once, and it's a good size scarf. Now, because of the color, It's more, I think, suited for a male. And I really don't know any male that would wear it with the palms on the ends, because you kind of fold it funky and you attach the palms to it to give it kind of a neat texture. I like the looks of what the picture showed, but if you're going to give this to a male, which is probably where I would donate it to, would be something to help a male out, I wouldn't put palms on it. So there's that scarf. Then going back to the 2 stitches going head to head. Like I said, the first one was the wrap that was double crochets. Then I also made this slouchy hat, and it's made with the same yarn as the green yarn, so the loops and threads. And it's a slouchy hat. Again, I used the 5mm crochet hook. Now the yarn though is red. It's gonna also go for donations. I have a couple hats I've made years ago that I wear on a regular basis. I don't like the fact that, because the yarn was a little thicker, how it bunched up when you did the top, but it is supposed to be slouchy. Although I could have probably added a few more rounds to it. I just didn't bother, because the amount I had left over, I could have easily gone 1 or 2 more rounds. But there is a hat. It's going to be entered in for the half double crochet. Yeah, half double crochet. So those were all my crocheted. Then I have one knitting project finished. And you're going to be sitting there thinking, well, we've already seen that, a while ago. Now, ends are not sewn in yet, but in my opinion, if it's off the hook or off the needle, it's finished. Even if it's not put together or the ends aren't sewn in my opinion, the hard work's done. It's just I haven't gotten around to finishing it. So there's the one you guys had already seen. And then the back part of the sock. So that's the one you guys saw. Oh my goodness. I think I showed that one to you guys easily 3-4 months ago. And then for the second one, I was at the section right here for to start the heel. Now, I don't know if I was a little more relaxed or a little more loosey-goosey or what it was, but when you look at the quality, put them so they're going the same way, of the heel, this one was the second one, and it's not nearly as nice. But they're for me. I really don't care. They fit. But yeah, I definitely was a little more loosey on this one, and it shows big time in the quality of the heel. They are the same stitches, same amount of rows. Now, I counted the rows, but for some reason, the second one I made, also the ankle part, seems like it's a little longer, but it's not. They're the same amount. But yes, I have 2 socks. See, there's 2, 1 in each hand. I just have the ends to sew and take off the stitch marker now, but the one pair is done. Now, to talk about the burgundy pair that I was doing 2 at a time. I know it can be done. I don't know if it can be really done with this style of heel, because I got to the section where I was also at the point to do the heel on those socks. And then when I went to start them, it was like I could only work the one heel at a time. Yeah, this heel seems longer, actually, even. I don't know what's with that, because the heel does seem off big time. Oh, well, they're going on my feet. I really don't care. They're done, in my opinion. Hopefully the next time I do a pair, I won't wait so long maybe to do the second one. But going back to the burgundy set that I'd started, and I'd gotten to the heel section for both socks. I was doing 2 at a time, toe up. I went and started the first heel and then realized you kind of can't do the second heel right afterwards. So I could do both heels at once for some reason. I don't know what exactly it was I was trying to do. I think the problem with that is because you got to knit the front half and then you do the heels or something. I don't know. It wasn't working out the way I thought it should work out in my head. I don't know if it was something I was doing or what exactly it was. And then I thought, okay, well, I'll do the one heel, keep track of where I'm at, and then get to the point where I can do the second heel. Yeah, I think it was the third time I tried to do a decreasing kind of stitch on the knit side, and I made a mistake and a loop got mixed up or something and ended up making a big gap in it. And I couldn't fix it, couldn't figure out what I did by looking at it. So they got ripped out. Both of them are completely ripped out because you couldn't take one off without taking the other one off the needle or whatever. And yeah, they've been scrapped for now. They will get recast on at some point. I'm in no big hurry to get them going. I did finally muster up the energy to do this other pair that I really want to get done. Now, with these though, because of these minis in the kit that I'd won, unfortunately, well over a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I honestly don't remember who I won this yarn from. If you are a follower of mine and you see this video, remind me it was you because I don't have record of it and I'm so sorry. But it came with this yarn and it was a big hank of this yarn. And then it came with, I think there's like 8 minis and they're all different shades of pink and stuff. I would, next time I go to make another pair of socks, I would probably just do the toes and the heels in the minis and not the cuffs, because I believe the second sock I made, the cuff is, yeah, I believe it was 1 round less in knitting, and literally this is what I had left. I could have gotten maybe the last round knitted, but I would have been cutting it down to possibly this amount of yarn left, if I'm lucky. So I didn't want to do the yarn chicken. So yeah, the second sock, the cuff is 1 round less, but I'm still okay with it. Like I said, like they're not perfect, but they're mine and I really don't care. I like them either way. But yeah, next pair I make with this yarn, and I'm going to use like the contrast color. I'm only going to do the heels and toes, not the cuffs. And like I said, there's multiple different colors of minis. So I don't know which one I'm going to use yet. I haven't pulled it out to look at it. But that's all my whips or my finished objects. Like I said, I did a lot. I'm thinking maybe, depending on my energy tonight, doing a late night bingo pop-up. So if you watched it to this point, keep an eye out. I may come out do other bingo pop-up or just sitting and crafting, I guess working on my Sophie's Universe blanket, because that's the only thing I have on the go right now. But yeah, keep an eye out. You never know. I might have a pop-up later tonight. Energy permitted to do so. But you guys have a great night. I don't think I'll be back on now till Wednesday. I probably try to do a video for Wednesday for sure for another whip update on my Sophie's blanket. And then there is another make along I am going to start tomorrow. And it's a mystery one. It's only for 3 months. I will get more details on it next week. But I got to go shopping tomorrow for yarn. So I'm going to finally spend some of that money my son gave me for Christmas. And then I know you guys have participated in voting in my head to toe winter knits projects. And no, I have not yet started the last winning one. So the poll is still open in my community tab for the next one. But the current project that I'm going to be starting also hopefully tomorrow is the penguin boot cuffs. And I got to go get yarn for it. And that's why it's also not started. Even though I think that poll I finished like 2 weeks ago and told you guys what the new project was, which was those cuffs. But like I said, I got to go yarn shopping. So hubby's taking me to go do that tomorrow. So next week I will hopefully either have 3 whips on the go for you, or maybe 2 whips. One will definitely be a whip because I won't know the ending of it till March, because she's releasing 2 items to pick your colors from twice a month for 3 months. So it's only going to have 6 colors in it. I'm thinking for this time around to do like a small baby corner to corner blanket. I've done this idea the last 2 years. Last year I did granny squares. Actually, that would have been, last year at the beginning of the year I did the granny squares. And then 2 colors per square and then joined them. And then the year before, so 2023's mystery make along, I did like a chevron blanket, which you guys didn't see because I wasn't doing videos back then. The granny square one you guys would have saw. But I'm thinking possibly this time around doing a corner to corner baby blanket and just doing a thick section of each color. So the first 3 and then the second set of 3. So the second color choice for February and then the 2 color choices for March. Having it so it's the decreased section of the baby blanket. And then figure out roughly how many figure out the width of a normal baby blanket size and then divide that by 3 so that I have an idea about how wide to make each section. And then it'll help me for when I go do decreasing. But I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do for that mystery. And like I said, I got to pick up the yarn. So that one will definitely be a whip next week. And the boot cuffs will either be a whip next week or an FO next week. And if it is an FO, then the poll I have currently on my community tab will be closed next week if the boot cuffs are done. But if you want to come in and put your vote in, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, it's more for entertainment for me to see what I'm going to make next out of that book. But I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys for joining me if you've been here to watch all my finished objects. If you have any opinion or advice on anything I've made, I would gladly hear what you got to say. And I will catch you guys all later. Bye for now.